All right, thanks, guys. The Air Force Academy travels to Michie Stadium to take on Army. That's going to be a 12 o'clock Eastern kickoff at Michie Stadium up there at West Point. The Army Black Knights are -6.5, totals 42. 56% are leaning toward Army, 55% shaded toward the over. And the Army Black Knights pretty good against the number this year. 6-2 ATS so far for the season. 3-1 ATS laying the points. Meanwhile, on the Air Force side of things, their defense is giving up 33 points per game on average. Air Force is also just 2-4 ATS in their last 6. So with all that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and purchase the hook, slide it down, and take the Army Black Knights -6, getting the job done at home. Next game, that's not right. Let's just slide over to the favorites. There we go. Next game, South Carolina at Ole Miss, 12 o'clock Eastern kickoff at Ole Miss. South Carolina's -1, total 67.5. 59% are leaning towards South Carolina, 66% shaded toward the over. Now, Ole Miss is just 2-5 ATS so far for the season, 1-3 ATS in their games at home. They're also 0-3 covering the spread as the dog, 0-2 covering the spread as the official home underdog as well. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, the South Carolina defense, they're giving up just 19 points per contest on the road. The Gamecocks are also 4-2 against the spread in their last 6, taking on Ole Miss. So with all that said and done, kind of a pickup contest in most spots. I got them at -1. Give me South Carolina laying the point, getting the job done against the number. And with that said and done, let's go ahead and introduce you to the show. My name is Brock Page, and thank you for tuning in. And I forget what my line is. I've been doing it for 2 years. Oh, before I got some lines and personal leans out for college football week 10. But before we get into all of that, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage. And with a documented win percentage of 60% for the entire year of 2017, you're certainly costing yourself valuable information each and every day you're not subscribed. Now, memberships begin at just $1.99 per month. There's also plenty of free content there as well. So once again, please feel free to just hit that pause button right now and open up your browser. All you got to do is type in patreon.com/BrockPage. It'll only take you just a couple seconds. Link is in the description section below. And if you are a current patron of mine and you're currently watching this program right now, I simply cannot thank you enough. You most certainly make it all worth it. And with all that said and done, let's go ahead and jump right back into some more lines and personal leans. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got Louisville at Clemson. 12 o'clock kickoff at Clemson. The Tigers are -38, laying 38 points in this one. Totals at 61. 62% are still leaning toward Clemson, laying the 38 points, and at the moment 72% are shaded toward the over. Now, if the most markets have this line out, you're looking at Louisville, who's about plus 1,700? Plus 17,000. So I don't think most markets are going to be having that offered, but if they do, plus 17,000, great spot to get even. But anyway, the Clemson Tigers, 4-3 ATS so far for the season, 4-3 ATS laying the points. They're taking on a Louisville team who's just 1-6 ATS overall, 0-3 against the spread on the road. They're also 1-4 ATS as the official underdog. So with all that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and lay a ton of points. Give me Clemson -38, getting the job done against the number. Next game, Syracuse at Wake Forest. 12 o'clock kickoff at Wake Forest. Syracuse is -5, total 77. 66% are leaning towards Syracuse, 71% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, Wake Forest is plus $1.90 for some moneyline cash. Now, Wake Forest is just 2-5 ATS in their last 7, 1-4 ATS as the dog. They're also 0-3 covering the spread as the official home dog. And with all that in mind, Wake Forest still is 0-3 ATS versus teams over a win percentage of 700. So I know that's a lot to digest. Basically, they haven't been covering the number all that well. Meanwhile, on the Syracuse side, they're 5-2 against the spread overall for the season. So with all that said and done, give me Syracuse -5, getting the job done against the number in that one. Next game, kind of a weird one. Georgia Southern at UL Monroe. 3 o'clock kickoff at UL Monroe. Georgia Southern's -7, totals 59.5. 66% are leaning Georgia Southern, 71% shaded toward the under. And at the moment, UL Monroe is +245 for some money line cash. Now, Georgia Southern is 7-1 ATS overall, 3-1 against the spread, laying the points. They're going up against a UL Monroe team who's just 2-5 ATS overall, 0-2 covering the spread at home. And UL Monroe has failed to cover the spread in 5 out of their last 6 games on their home field. So with all that said and done, give me Georgia Southern -7, getting the job done against the number. All right, next game. Real big game of interest. A lot of eyes on this one. Georgia Bulldogs traveling to Kentucky. 3:30 kickoff in Kentucky. The Bulldogs are -8, totals 45. 57% are leaning toward the Bulldogs, 54% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, Kentucky's +285 for some money line cash. Now, Georgia's 4-3 ATS for the season, 4-3 covering as the favorite. The Bulldogs are also 3-1 against the spread versus teams allowing less than 25 points per contest. So actually, Georgia really getting the job done against these upper echelon teams, especially ones with good defense. Meanwhile, on the other side, Kentucky, they failed to cover in 2 out of their last 3 ball games. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lay the points with Georgia. Give me the Georgia Bulldogs -8, getting the job done against the number. Next game, Iowa at Purdue, 3:30 kickoff at Purdue. The Boilermakers are -3, totals 51. 59% are leaning toward Iowa, 65% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Hawkeyes are +$1.35 for some money line cash. Now, we are looking at an Iowa Hawkeye team who's 5-2 against the spread so far for the season, 2-1 against the spread on the road. They're taking on a Purdue squad who, although they upset Ohio State earlier in the season, they are just 2-3 against the spread, laying the points, 0-2 against the spread as the official home favorite. Purdue's also failed to cover in 5 out of their last 6 at home, taking on Iowa. So with all that said and done, I really like Iowa in the spot here. Give me the Hawkeyes +3, getting the job done against the number. Next game, another kind of weird one. Liberty at UMass, 3:30 kickoff at the University of Massachusetts. And the Minutemen are -1, total 69.5. Now 64% are leaning toward Liberty, 58% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Liberty Flames are +$1.35 for some money line cash. Now Liberty is 3-2 against the spread, catching the points this season, 10-3 ATS in their last 13 away from home, dating back to last season. Meanwhile, on the UMass side, they failed to cover in 7 out of their last 8 ball games, 2 out of their last 3 at home. So with all that said and done, give me Liberty +1, getting the job done on the road. Next game, Mizzou at Florida. This should be a pretty good one. 4 o'clock kickoff in Florida. The Gators are -6, totals 57.5. 65% are leaning toward Mizzou, 61% shaded toward the under. And at the moment, Mizzou is +205 for some money line cash. Now, we are looking at a Missouri squad who's failed to cover in their last 3 games on the road. They are just 3-4 ATS overall for the season as well. We are looking at a Mizzou team who's also 2-3 ATS, taking on teams giving up less than 25 points per contest, so really struggled against those good defenses. Meanwhile, on the Florida side, they're 5-2 ATS for the season, 3-1 against the spread, laying the points. I got to ride with the Gators in this one. Give me Florida -6, getting the job done against the number. Next game, another game of interest here. Notre Dame at Northwestern, 7:15 kickoff at Northwestern. Notre Dame's -10, totals 53.5. 56% are leaning toward Northwestern, 64% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Wildcats of Northwestern are +330 for an upset. Now, Notre Dame's 2-1 ATS away from home this season, 6-2 straight up in their last 8 on the road dating back to last season. They are taking on a Northwestern defense who is giving up kind of a rotund 26 points per game at home. Northwestern's also just 2-3 against the spread in their games on their home turf. So with all that said and done, I know it's double digits. I know they're on the road, but give me Notre Dame minus 10, getting the job done against the number. Next game, a lot of eyes on this one. Huge game, huge implications when it comes to the playoff picture. I'm talking about Alabama at Louisiana State. 8 o'clock kickoff at LSU. Bama's minus 14. Total's 53.5. 52% are leaning toward Bama. 62% shaded toward the over. And right now, LSU is plus 465 for an outright victory. Now, they are taking on a Bama squad who's 3-1 against the spread on the road, 3-1 against the spread as the official road favorite. Alabama's also won 5 out of their last 6 in LSU. And speaking of LSU, they're just 1-4 ATS in their last 5 taking on Alabama. They've also failed to win in 5 out of their last 6 at home taking on the Crimson Tide. All that said and done, can't fade them. I got no reason to do so. Give me Alabama minus 14, getting the job done against the spread. All right, next and final game for the show. It is going to be Stanford at Washington, 9 o'clock kickoff at Husky Stadium. The Huskies of Washington are minus 10.5. Totals 45 and a hook. 59% are leaning Stanford, 64% shaded toward the under. And at the moment, Stanford is plus 350 for some money line cash. Now, Stanford is 2-1 against the spread away from home, 4-1 straight up versus Washington in their last 5 meetings. Meanwhile, this Washington squad has failed to cover in 5 out of their last 6 games. They're also just 2-4 straight up in their last 6 at home, taking on Stanford. Got to lean toward the Cardinal, catching the double digits. Let me purchase the hook, buy it up, move that line a half a point, and take Stanford plus 11, getting the job done against the number. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. But before I get out of here, I just want to quickly remind you once again to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage. And I'll tell you what, with a documented win percentage of 60% for the entire year of 2017, you're certainly costing yourself some valuable information each and every day you're not subscribed. Now, memberships begin at just $1.99 per month. There's also plenty of free content there as well. So once again, please feel free to just finish this video, open up your browser, and just type in patreon.com/BrockPage. It'll only take a few seconds. Link is in the description section below. And if you are a current patron of mine and you're currently watching this program right now, I simply cannot thank you enough. You most certainly make it all worth it. And most importantly, thank you for watching today's program. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free information. And once again, please don't forget to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage.